learners, very good morning. Good morning, am I visible? Okay, very good morning. Okay, we have only one day for the exam. We are going to do a fast, quick revision on the important concepts where we can score good marks, right? So that is what today I am going to cover as a fast revision. Very fast revision it's going to be. So I hope you are all ready for the session, right? Okay. Come on, let's start the session. Those who are new to our platform, do subscribe the channel and definitely watch till the end, because for your examinations these topics are most important, because very precisely we have made this content to make it useful for your exam. Last minute revision. Yes, come on, let's quickly start. Starts with teaching theory. We have learning theories, right? Theories of learning. So different types of learning theories are there. Behaviorist school of thought, where the main proponents are Skinner, Watson and Ivan Pavlov, and these are all the persons who gave their contribution towards the change in the behavior, right? The behaviorism change. So the change in the behavior results something. So this behaviorism changing has some important terms called conditioning, stimulus response, reinforcement, punishment, observed behavior. So what do you mean by this conditioning? We have two important theories called classical conditioning and operant conditioning. In classical conditioning, we have the concepts of stimulus and a response. So there is an association between a stimulus and a response that is mentioned by in the classical conditioning. And in operant conditioning, every action, the behavior, if I want to change, means that it can be done through rewards and punishments, right? So the consequences like rewards and punishments can be given in terms of operant conditioning. So these are the terms. And what is that stimulus response? Some kind of trigger will be there, so that for that trigger the response will be created. So that's called stimulus and response. And reinforcement, where reinforcement we have of these types: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. So what do you mean by positive reinforcement? If you want a student to complete some task, if you give her a chocolate or if you give you some reward, he or she will be happy, and for the next time that child will wants to get the chocolate, he or she will complete the job. So I am adding a pleasant stimulus here, that is giving a chocolate to that student, so that he or she can increase the behavior of completing a task. That is called positive reinforcement, which comes under these operant conditioning. And negative reinforcement means what? Removing an unpleasant stimulus to increase the behavior. Means what? Turning off a loud alarm when you wake up on time. So when you wake up on time, right, turning off an alarm, it's called a negative reinforcement. So removing that unpleasant stimulus so that we can increase that behavior. And positive punishment means what? Whenever a child does some mistake, what we will do? We give punishment. We give punishment. So what happens next time? The student will not do that mistake, so that he will understand, if we do this mistake, punishment will be given. So here the positive punishment is, the child will learn, okay, punishment is good because we will not repeat it again. So adding an unpleasant stimulus, giving punishment as an unpleasant stimulus, so that the behavior will be decreased, not doing it again. Then negative punishment means what? Removing an a pleasant stimulus to decrease the behavior. Whenever a student misbehaves, whenever a child misbehaves, right, what we will do? Immediately we will remove their mobile phones from them for misbehaving. So what will happen? They will not do. It's called negative punishment. Negative punishment, right? Very good. So these are all the important terms that we have to understand in behaviorist theory. Punishments and so all these doing things, right? What we can see? We can see an observable behavior in that particular person. So the focus on actions that can be seen and that can be measured. This happens over the period of time. Am I clear, learners? Yes, this comes under behaviorist theory. Next, we have another behavior in behaviorism. We have another important contribution given by Edward Leigh Thornagey. Thornagey's laws of learning. Whenever we learn something, right, definitely it has some kind of effect on it. And this also was proposed by Edward Lee Thorneke, and he was contribution towards what? Connectionism theorem. It explains how learning occurs through connection between stimuli and a response. This I usually apply in our classrooms. Definitely all the learning that we do has some kind of connections. Some kind of connections are there when we learn something. Here learning was being based on experiments. Here they have given the scientific things they have done. The contribution areas which we have to remember in the exam point of view is here stimulus and response. Always learning occurs when a connection is formed between a stimulus and a correct response. So stimulus should be there and the correct response should be connected. That is one term used in Thorneke's theory. And we have trial and error learning. How many times we repeat something? When we learn something, we repeat it again and again by means of trial and error method. So learning happens only through repeated attempts. Simply remember how we learned cycling during our childhood. How we learned, again we fall, again we climb up, again we fall, again we climb up, right? So by repeating the actions again and again and again, we learned, right? And that is called this trial and error. Learning happens through repeated attempts until success is achieved. Then these are the three important laws of learning proposed by E.L. Thorneke. So law of effect means what? The responses followed by satisfaction are more likely to recur. So whatever I learn, I need to have some kind of an effect towards it, and that's what we call law of effect. Law of exercise, I repeat it again and again so that I can make it strong. And readiness, I have to ready to learn something. So these are the important terms used by E.L. Thorneke's laws of learning: effect, exercise, and readiness to do something, to learn something. And next theory comes to cognitive school of thought proposed by Jean Piaget and Jerome Bernard. Please understand the conceptual understanding is must in terms of paper 1, because we are getting question in terms of statement based question, we are getting questions in terms of match the following, we are getting questions in multiple selection questions, right? So these are the different varieties of questions we are getting in the examinations. For that we have to be good in the conceptual understanding. That's why I am doing the quick revision on these concepts, right? Okay. Next we move to cognitive. What is cognitive? Our brain is a cognitive, the knowledge here, right? So this proposed by Jean Piaget and Jerome Bernard, and they work on the how our internal process works when we learn something. How the knowledge is being organized, how it is being processed, how it is being stored. So that was the main thing contributed by these two proponents. And here these are the terms. The mental process means what? How our mind thinks, how our internal memory works for it. And schema means what? Our mental framework regarding something we call schema. Everything we learn in our life, right, it starts with a schema. It starts with an empty template, and that template will be filled up as we learn from people, as we grow. So here the schema is nothing but a mental framework organizing some knowledge in our mind. Assimilation means what? Fitting a new information into an existing schema. Already I have my mental framework. Now I look something and just fit into my empty schema when it is fitted into it. That is assimilation. And what is accommodation? In my schema there would have been something already. Now what I do, a new thing comes into my mind. I give just accommodate the concept, the new one and old one. I give space to that new one to accommodate into my already existing schema, and that is called accommodation. What do you mean by accommodation? Fitting into something, right? So adjusting with the concepts to fit to the new experiences. That's called accommodation. Next, information processing. How my mind processes some information. Information processing. For this information processing, you have to remember. We will be looking into the upcoming slides. The different memories, right? The short-term memory, long-term memory, how it is being processed, how the information processed from our memory. So all these things comes under this term. And we have problem solving. So whenever we had a problem, how my cognitive thinking works to solve that problem. These are the terms proposed by Jean Piaget and Jerome Bernard. And these are the important terms that we have in this particular cognitive theory of learning. Cognition, metacognition. What do you mean by cognition? Now what you do now? Now I am just showing you all the key points by highlighting in yellow color. I'm emphasizing some keywords to remember for this particular topic. So you will be just remembering something, reading something, and you will be just reading all, learning all these things, right? So the mental activities that we use to learn something, learn and understand something, is nothing but cognition. And the next term come metacognition, means what? How we think that one. So if you read something, you will be writing some extra keywords for that. So how to remember that thing, how to remember, you understand, how to remember that thing, how to read it in a different way so that you can remember it for a longer period of time. So thinking about that thinking, we call it as metacognition. Everyone studies learning theories, but everyone, the style of learning will be different. Someone will take some mnemonics to remember something, someone will write some code words to remember something, you understand, someone will draw something to remember that content. So that's called metacognition, means thinking about your own thinking, we call it as metacognition. We have got question from these areas this time and before time also. So it helps you to plan, monitor and evaluate how you are learning. Clear? Right. So that what will be happen if I do metacognition, I can improve my learning. Clear? Next one. These are the important stages of Jean Piaget's theory. That is, we have 4 different stages of Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory. Sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, formal operation. Don't forget to remember these years. Sensory motor means, imagine a small child, right? From the birth till the 2 years, it's called the sensory motor. Sense means what? Looking something, touching something, sensing something, right? All the sense organs will be activated during that age of time. So they learn via the senses and movement, and develops the object's permanence and being intentional in terms of actions. And then in terms of pre-operational means what? Imagine a child in your home which is between 2 to 7 years of old, where it will be very egoistic, right? Means what? Whatever they say, it is right for them. And then their language will be developed at that age, and they will not able to understand the logic at that age of time. But when they move to 7 to 11 years of time, they can able to understand the logic behind the concepts which we explain or which is happening around their life. So the concrete operational stage talks about how the logical thinking will be started to develop in the minds of their kids. And then the formal operational stage talks about the how to problem solve them, how to reasoning in an advanced way. That will be done during about 12 years of period of time. Clear? So these are the stages of Jean Piaget's theory. These are the thing of Jean Piaget's theory. Next, constructivist theory. Again, here also we have the Jean Piaget's contribution is here, because cognitive means how our knowledge thinks, and what happens here, how our knowledge builds up. It's been built up by means of constructing over it. So it gets constructed, right? The knowledge is constructed in my brain or memory. So that also proposed by Jean Piaget, and another person is Liv Vygotsky. And their major contribution towards the engagement of a learner in terms of society. Have you seen people, kids, small kids, when they are at home, right, in this generation, in this period of time, because the children will not speak when they are at home during that 2 years, 3 years. Many parents are scared why the kids are not speaking, because in a nuclear family, right, no members are there, because in those days family members will be more, so the child will have the opportunity to talk with everyone or observe people, and they will talk. See, observe people and then talk. But because of the current family setup, right, so the children was not having the opportunity to observe people. They just observe only these mobile phones to understand things. But that is not realistic, right? So when they send to the school, what will happen? They interact with the society. What is the society? The children of their same age group, teachers, people who assist someone, strangers, everyone, they interact, and from them they construct their knowledge, and it's called constructivist theory. So emphasized active learner engagement and social interaction in constructing knowledge. If you see that the child will speak very easily when they get into their school. Am I correct? So that is nothing but this constructivist theory. They construct their knowledge by interacting with the society. And here there is an important concept called scaffolding and zone of proximal development. We have got question, and we have also practiced this question. Scaffolding means what? Giving a support. Whenever the trainer, the teacher feels that the student can do it on her own, slowly the support will be taken back. correct, and whenever it is needed, again the support will be given. That's called scaffolding. So here in this constructivist theory, active learning, prior knowledge. What is active learning? As the learner is engaged in the learning process, so they will be engaged and they will be learning the content. Prior knowledge means what? Already they know something, with that base now they start learning. And social interaction, they collaborate with people to learn something. And zone of proximal development means what? What a child can do with the help of others or alone, and that is called zone of proximal development. Understand it very clear. Zone of proximal development means I am a learner. Assume that you are a learner, I am a learner, okay? So if we are a learner, what we can do it alone. 1 minute. Am I visible? Is everything clear? Yes, it's clear. So I learn whatever a learner can do it alone or with the help of others. So what kind of zone the child is there to learn something? Either alone can do, or he needs some help from other people, or he needs more help from other people. So what kind of distance, what kind of help it needs from the society, right? And that's called zone of proximal development. And next, scaffolding means getting the support from the teacher to do something so that they can move on. Whenever the teacher feels the child has learned, they can do it on their own, the support will be slowly taken back. I used to give us a, how we learned to cycling during our childhood, through our friends, with the help of our friends or our parents. They used to guide us to ride cycle. When they felt that we can able to drive, they slowly take back the support and then we start to drive. But whenever we were supposed to fall, they will immediately come and hold us, right? And that's called scaffolding. Then meaning making, where as it is a constructivist knowledge, where we, by understanding people, we build up our knowledge. Clear? Yes. Next one, this is what I said, that the zone of proximal development and scaffolding. Scaffolding means I'm getting help from support from others. Zone of proximal development means what I can do it alone or with the help of others. Clear? Next one, we have social learning theory proposed by Albert Bandura. Clear? Are you all there? Yes. Albert Bandura, what he proposed, he also talks about the social learning theory. How a person learns through the society. Simple. So, the learning occurs through the observation and imitation, not only by getting experience, right? That is what do you mean by experience? What do you mean by maturation? Experience means getting into the society or getting into a place, new things will come and we observe and we learn and we do, we fail, and that we call it as an experience, right? We directly involved in that activity. So it is not with just direct experiencing, I am not doing it, but by means of observing the people, by means of imitating the thing, where we can able to learn something. That is how we have evolved also. When we are small, we have observed our parents and we have done something. When we are small, we would have observed our sister and brother and then we have done doing something. When to come to an age, we look at our teachers being a role model, we getting them as a role model, we are doing something. Every stage of life, right? We are not growing alone. We grow by observing people, learn from the society, and then we grow. At one point of time, we can able to discriminate whether it is right or it is wrong. What thing we observe, it is right or wrong, that comes at a point of time by means of learning experiences. Here we have terms called modeling, observational learning, imitation, reinforcement, self-efficacy, vicarious learning. What do you mean by modeling here? Modeling means I just look at the people, observe, through their actions I learn something. Observational learning means what? Again the same term, gaining knowledge by watching other people. Imitation means what? Observe and replicating in my side. I am copying their behavior and I am doing it, and that is called imitation. Next, reinforcement, that we see in the first slide. Reinforcement means giving rewards, giving chocolates to do that activity again, to encourage them, giving punishments or not to do that activity again. That is reinforcement. And self-efficacy, belief in one's ability to succeed. I hope that I have that ability to do something. Self-efficacy. Vicarious learning means what? Learning by seeing the consequences of others' action. Looking at the others' action, looking at their consequences, we learn something. No, no, we should not do like that, right? We usually used to look at people, they do the mistake, the other people, right? The other people do mistake and they suffer. By looking at them, we will say, no, no, we should not do the same, because if we do the same means we will suffer. So that's called vicarious learning. Am I clear? So these are all the terms which are used in social learning theory. Social learning theory by means of observation. Here these are the 4 important phases: attention, retention, reproduction and motivation. I think this time this question was being asked. December 2024. Attention, retention, reproduction, motivation. So I have to observe some behavior. I have to focus on that, and then I have to remember that behavior, and then I have to reproduce that one by means of imitation, and for that I need to have some strong motivation. I need to have a strong motivation. So attention, retention, reproduction and motivation. This is what we call it as a social learning theory proposed by Albert Bandura. Next one, we have experiential learning. What do you mean by experiential learning? Through experience, when I learn. 1 minute. One minute. Sorry, an emergency call. That's why I went. Okay. So here experiential means what? Through experience, to doing. To doing I'm learning something is called experiential learning theory, and this was being proposed by David Kolpa. See, it is said to be a cyclic process where it has these 4 stages: concrete experience, reflection, abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. These stages of learning should be done whenever a student learns something. It needs to get experienced, reflect their thoughts, and thinking should be done and acting should be done. Direct hands-on involvement. See, these are the phases. Please note it down. Direct hands-on involvement should be there for a student, and thinking about that experience and forming a new ideas on whatever he had thought, whatever that we had done in before, and applying that into the practice. And this is what called experiential learning theory. See, whenever we want to learn in terms of our own child at home, or in the place where we work, or for ourselves also, we have to understand this experiential learning. We try to apply it. So try to do it on our hand. It may do fail, no problem, it may fail, don't worry. Fail means write it down why it has been failed. That is a learning we have occurred, right? An experience we have gained. And the thinking about the experience says how it has been failed. So I have thought, okay, this is the reason it has been failed. Then I can able to create a new idea on how to make it success, right? And after making it as an idea, after creating a theory, now I am going to apply it into practice. And that is was proposed by David called concrete experience, reflective observation. Reflective means we have to think why it failed, what happened inside. So we have to critically think into it and get the abstract conceptualization. So after looking at the failure or after looking at the mistake, I can come to a idea that what can be done, and then I will be experimenting it. Whenever we want to learn something also, we have to use this theory called experiential learning theory. Try to apply it into this examination point of view. This question has been asked in terms of sequence. So try to note this sequence. And next one, we have cognitive apprenticeship model. It is a model where we do things on problem solving and thinking skill, right? So cognitive apprenticeship model. So cognitive means what? Thinking. Apprenticeship model means what? Where we do learn by doing something. Learn by thinking something, learn by in action, right, is an approach that help learners to develop the problem solving and thinking skills by making an expert knowledge and process visible, where it is being done through a guided experience. So learning is being occurred through a guided experiences, and that is called cognitive apprenticeship model. These are the six key components of cognitive apprenticeship model: modeling, coaching, scaffolding, articulation, reflection, exploration. So what in a modeling, as I have told you before, so as the modeling means they will be presenting something, will be observe that one. So how to think and solve the problems will be done, and then they will be given enough, the guidance will be given by the expert to do something, and the temporary support will be given whenever we are able to do it. Their hands will be taken off. And then articulation, so the learner's role is to think on their own to make it in their style, that is articulation. And then reflection, so whatever they have thought and whatever it is before their comparing, reflection will be done. And exploration, where they can apply their skills independently to solve a new sorts of problem. These are the key components of cognitive apprenticeship model. This topic, particular topic being asked from 2023, this topic was being covered. Next one is group investigation model. Group investigation model is a group, we have another more strategies also coming, upcoming slides. So group investigation talks about the cooperative learning, where they work in small groups. As a groups they work, they explore more things, they investigate things to solve some problems. It's called group investigation. See, what we have to remember is statement based question, we can get these. In terms of group investigation model, we can promote active participation, collaboration and critical thinking. Clear? Yes. And these are the phases of the group investigation model. What we have to do: identify a topic, plan what I am going to investigate, and collect information regarding that one, organizing all those data and present the findings, and evaluate and have a reflective thought process with the teachers and within the group. Am I clear? And this we call it as a group investigation model. Am I clear, learners? So far we have covered all the important important learning theories. Is it clear, learners? Is it clear? Okay. Now I have covered here the all the things in one single slide. Please, you can make a note of it. Keep your phone in the landscape mode. According to the learning theories, the proponents, the key ideas with possible years I have given. Sometimes because this time examination they've asked for chronological sequence. They've asked for the match the following with the proponent's name. So that's why I have made this way. I think you can also check it this one. You can keep the phone in the landscape mode and you can check. Behaviorist theory, who are the proponents? B.F. Skinner, Ivan Pavlov, John Watson. Okay, these are the proponents, and their working is also given. Skinner worked on reinforcement and giving punishments, and Ivan Pavlov works on learning via association, and John Watson, he works on observable behavior, the psychology as a science of observable behavior. And then we have a cognitive learning theory, Jean Piaget, Jerome Bruner, and Gagney's learning theory is also there. So Jean Piaget, he works on cognitive development. Jerome Bruner works on discovery learning, because every learning is discovery, right? New things will be discovered in child. And then the Gagney's theory of learning works on instructional design, how the instructional design should be. That is given by Robert Gagney. And then very important, Lev Vygotsky theory on constructivism. He worked on zone of proximal development, scaffolding. These things you have to remember. Again, Jean Piaget, here he worked on cognitive constructivism, how a child construct their knowledge based on the cognitive skill that he or she is having. It's called Jean Piaget's cognitive constructivism. Social learning theory we studied, right? Albert Bandura's learning by observation. Learning by observation, and then it starts to imitate. It starts to reflect, right? And that's called Albert Bandura's theory on learning by observing other people. Then Carl Rogers' theory on humanistic learning theory. We have two theories here. One is Carl Rogers' theory and another one is Maslow's hierarchical needs, right? Maslow's hierarchical needs starts with that a self-act. It has some 6 phases of learning. I will write it here so that you can have that also, because it's been asked in the examination. Maslow's hierarchical needs theory. All a person has a need, right? So based what all the we have 5 theories are there, 5 steps are there. I will write it down. 1 minute. Lot of space. I'll create a page. Are you all there? So it starts with the self-actualization. One time the question was being asked in this part on Maslow's hierarchical needs. We start with self-actualization, and then a person should have the esteem, a self-esteem, and then we have love and belongingness. Belongingness is the third one, and fourth one we have a safety needs, and then we have a physiological needs. Physiological needs. So these are all being called as the laws of Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs. Make clear, needs. For a person we have a need, right? For that, the first starts at the baseline. We have a physiological need, basic food, clothing, that we need to have. Then we need to have a safety needs, that we need to have a very good job. I need to have a good employability. I need to have a good a small house for living, a small property for my support, safety for my future, and I need to have a good family, right? So I need to have a good friendship should be there, good family, mother, parents, my spouse, children, right? Such kind of connection I need to have. That's called love and belongingness. They are my family, they are my friends. That thought process should be there. And we need to have a very good self-esteem. That's for a self-respect. Every person should need to have that respect, self-esteem, the ability of trusting themselves. And next, last one comes self-actualization. That's for the most important need in a person. That is called self-actualization. Yes, clear? Clear? Clearer? Yes, because a person, that will be a top of the needs, self-actualization. That only gives us a fulfillment towards what we do, what is our goal, whether we have reached our objective or not. Everything will be done over here, right? Very good. Right, it's called under Maslow's theory, hierarchy of needs, motivation in learning something. And then David Kolb's theory, we have a experience, a reflection, application, right? Getting a good experience and then doing the reflection and then doing the framing a new ideas and applying that skill. David Kolb's learning experiential theory. And then Howard Gardner's theory on intelligence. Every person born is there with the intelligence, multiple intelligences. Not one person is not intelligent in one factor. He might be intelligent in multiple factors, and that's what proposed by Howard Gardner in the year 1983, multiple intelligence theory. And then we have a connectionism theory, as we seen before in 1905. It's Edward Lee Thorndike, the laws of learning, proposed by Thorndike, right? Laws of learning, effect, readiness, and exercise, right? Repetition. We have to do it again and again. And we also have a concept called trial and error method is there in this connectionism theory. And next we have the G-SALT theory of learning. G-SALT theory works on the patterns. So whenever we see some pattern, right, we will perceive that this is what over there. So learning things as a perception of patterns and as a whole, where we can get an insight learning of concepts. It's proposed by G-SALT theory of learning. So these are the very important learning theories in teaching aptitude, along with the proponents, along with the possible years I have given, and their main key contribution towards those learning theories is being presented. Is it clear, learners? Yes, is it clear? Shall I move to the next topic? Please let me know so that I can move to the next topic. Please let me know so that I can move to the next topic. Shall I move? Please let me know so that I can move. Okay, right. Next important topic is on the styles. Okay, the styles of teaching and teaching. So in a classroom, if a teacher is said to be an authoritarian teacher, a classroom said to be an authoritarian teacher is there, means what does it mean? The teacher was having a full control and enforce the strict rules with little student input, right? It's called authority. It will be a strict classroom. And if a classroom is said to be an authoritative classroom, means the teacher set clear rules but also listens what student is being saying to the is being conveying them, and also need a proper support will be there. And next we have a laissez-faire or a permissive way of style of teaching. A permissive way of teaching is the teacher will be the teacher involves the students in doing the decision making in the classroom. Okay, clear? Yes. So whenever a teacher follows this permissive classroom management, what happens that students will be grant autonomy to do in the classroom. If this will be good whenever the students are self-learners, matured, but whenever the students are not matured means then this particular model will become a problematic one. If the students are matured one, experienced one, who can able to handle themselves, for them the freedom will be in a proper way, where the full freedom with the minimal rules and guidance will be there. But whenever it is for students who are not matured and experienced, for them this particular style of classroom will not good for to apply. But for learners, those who do self-learning, for them the creativity can be applied. No constraints is there for their creativity, where they can express themselves, where they can do things on their own. But again the same thing is on the other side. If there is not for a experienced and matured learners, means it's really a problematic thing. It will be takes towards the academic level will not be good. They will not behave well in the classroom because they are given a lot of freedom, right? So on that side that is a problem in terms of laissez-faire or the permissive style of classroom. Democratic classroom or participative classroom means what? Teacher involves in doing, taking things and rule setting. So everyone will be in a democratic way, everyone having the equal strength in the classroom. Democratic. So authoritarian, a strict teacher. Authoritative, a balanced, where clear rules will be set by the teacher. Teacher will be monitoring them what they are doing, and he or she will listen to them, and the support will be there. Laissez-faire means students will be given full freedom to do with minimum guidance and rules. But if it is applied for advanced learners means then it will not be a problem, because creativity can be done in the level. But if it is being given for the less matured students means that time it will be a big problem. The academic may go down, the behavior may go down. That will be possible in permissive style of teaching. Democratic means what? Participative. Teacher and student involved towards the learning process in doing things in the classroom. That is democratic, participative. Transactional teaching means what? Classroom style means what? Teacher uses to give rewards and punishment whenever they do mistake and whenever they do good things in the classroom, so that their behavior can be equipped. Supportive means what? They will be a supportive factor in the classroom. Next, inductive means teacher allows the students to solve the problem, and they will be allowing the student to discover something, to learn something. This is called inductive classroom style. These are the different types of classroom styles adopted by a teacher. Clear? Yes. Next one we go to Swayam. Very, very important. We can expect question from this one. In maths the following we are getting. Swayam means what? It is a massive open online course where currently we have 10 coordinators, and it is developed by Government of India initiative of during 2017, developed by Ministry of Education, NEPTIL, IIT Madras, and it's been supported by Google and Persistent Systems, right? And the main objective of this one is to access equity and quality in education. Access equity, quality in education, providing the top resources to all, even to disadvantaged students. The content has to be reached. That is the main focus of this massive open online course portal. And here the bridge the digital divide. This is the key term used. Digital divide means what? People who can access with the internet, with the internet, without the internet. So there is a gap, right? That is what we call it as digital divide. So those who have been left out of the digital technologies, for them also the content should be reached. That is the main focus of this MOOC. And integrate the students into the knowledge. So Swayam is a MOOC course started in 2017, started by Ministry of Education, NEPTIL, IIT Madras, supported by Google Inc. and Persistent System. Main focus is to access equity, quality, and where the top educational persons will be doing this, creating this content, mainly meant for every student who have been disadvantaged in learning those content, right? And here the features are from class 9 to post graduation. The contents will be given anytime, anywhere, by anyone. They can access the course. Only thing is, if they want to get a certification, they have to pay the fee, or else The contents all are provided for free. Contents provided for free. Test you can attempt for free. But only when you want to get this certification from the government, for that you have to pay a certification fee. And then we have the 4-quadrant approach of Swayam courses, that we have 4 quadrants. Video lecture should be there. Material should be there to support that video content. And the assessment should be done to support this content. And the doubt clearing sessions will be there. That is, the discussion forum will be there for doing all these 3 things. Am I clear? So what will be the first one? Video lectures will be there. Then next one will be the material supporting this video lecture. And the third one, to evaluate whether they have learned something or not, for that assessment should be there. And if they have any doubt, the discussion forum should be there. So these are called as the 4 quadrants of a Swayam course. Clear? Yes. And we have totally 10 coordinators. We have 10 coordinators. Remember it along with the years. People may scold me that, ma'am, don't give us too much of years, but we like it or not, we are getting questions from years, to arrange it in chronological, to arrange it in sequence. What to do? Tell me. So try to write the years and practice. Definitely it will be stored in our memory. So AICTE is established 1945 and it got the statutory status in 1987. I have given the mnemonics to remember, that is ANU, CNN, I. So what is ANU? It is AICTE, and the next one is NEPTIL, and then is UGC. They give courses for self-paced learning and international courses. NEPTIL for engineering courses, UGC for non-technical higher education courses, CEC for undergraduation courses. What is CEC? All sorts of multimedia things, right? Media related things will be done in the CEC. Consortium for educational communication. NCERT is for school education. NIOS is for National Institute of Open Schooling. IGNOU is for Indira Gandhi National Open University, out of the school students for them. And here there is an important term that I would like to mention, is called on-demand examination system. On-demand examination system. Last time we got a question from this one. So this was being followed by NIOS. That is what on demand means, whenever the need is there for the student, at that time that examinations will be conducted, and this particular examinations is being implemented in this particular NIOS, on demand examination system. Clear? Yes. You can ask me, ma'am, then many colleges students don't demand exams, so we don't want exams. No. Because only when you write the exams, right, we will be getting all the proper things to us, right? So what is the main advantages of doing this on-demand system is, they can be accessed whenever they are ready. They should be ready, and without the evaluation, nothing can be done, right? So whenever a student is ready to get accessed, right, at that time they can do. So it depends upon the student's readiness. The evaluations will be done, the assessment will be done. And so there is that pressure is there, not on the stress of the examination and all the fixed time schedule and all, where it works on the readiness of a student. Am I clear? Right? Okay. And also one more point is, they can write as many times as, because if they want to improve their score, they can write as many times as they want to do it. They can improve their level. They can reappear in the examinations. Am I clear? So as it is purely depends upon the demand of the student, at that place student will not do malpractice. Am I right? So that malpractice can also be reduced. So this is the main advantages of doing this on-demand examination system. Okay, this question being asked in this time examination. That's why I mentioned you here, NIOS. And then we have IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, in the year 1985. But with respect to Open University, we have already have an first Open University in the year 1982 by Ambedkar Open University, right? And then we have Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and then NITTR, National Institute of Technical Teachers and Training Research. It is a main program for teacher training. In the year 1964 it is started, and this is in Chennai. This NITTR branch in Chennai was the coordinator for this one. And the last one is Institute of National Importance. We have nearly 169 Institute of National Importance. Among them, Benares Hindu University and Aligarh Muslim University has been the coordinator for organizing these programs, right? Organizing the courses. And this was being established during 2023. Clear? Right. Very good. Okay. So next we quickly move to the other important easy topics which we can cover in teaching aptitude. First starts with methods of teaching, teacher center. With teacher center, lecture means it's a teaching center method. Lecture will be given to the whole students. They will just passively listen. That is called lecture method. Team teaching, two teachers connect together to give some content. Team teaching. Video presentation, TV will be there, smart TV will be there, content will be delivered, student will listen. Demonstration means what? I used to give us some example. My teacher who taught me vernier caliper in front of my whole class, we all sat together and we watched what my miss is doing on vernier caliper. She said this is how we have to move, this is how we have to measure the caliper, and everything she explained to us. That's called demonstration. Explaining something to the whole classroom through step-by-step explanation. Teacher center method. When you take learner center, now I'll go little bit fast. Please kindly do listen alone. Okay? Imagine what I am telling you. It is enough for these topics. That's why I am telling. Please do imagine. Next we have a tutorial. So tutorial means step by step contents will be given to understand some topics. Step 1 do this, step 2 do this. So here this step 1, step 2 is being good for learners who learn by themselves. For them it will be very good. And then assignments. Assignments is also learner centric, where the content task will be given by the teacher. Student will be assigned with the work and they will be doing it on their interest. Assignment. Project is said to be a long-term task given to the student to explore something and to give some final outcome. It's called project work. Case study. Case study. Something I am going to study in depth. Case study. Programmed instruction. So after completing small things, right, I'll be getting a feedback. This is good. You have got 10 marks. You have got 5 marks. You have done very well. It's called programmed instruction. Computer assistant learning, where we learn these things through software or a tools. We call computer assisted learning. Interactive video means what? Where we learn. Nowadays all the software tools do by means of interaction. Interactivity are there. Engaging them in active polls, engaging them in live quizzes. So this make the learner to be engaged in the learning phase, right? Interactive videos. And then open learning. As this interactive video comes, we have augmented reality, augmented reality come into existence. It's called as immersive technologies. Immersive technologies. Nowadays in all the teaching and learning, right, we have started in schools and all. Science, especially in science, they have started including the immersive technologies like augmented reality. Means what? It looks like in real life we can augment some digital things to explore things, to learn something. Augmented reality. We can explore the in humanities and all, we can able to connect the virtual reality to explore them to that new situation, right? So these are all the concepts being included here in teaching and learning. And next one that's connected with this interactive video. And open learning is where the flexibility is given to the students to learn what they want, how to study. So all the privileges is in the hands of the students. And next we have personalized system of instruction. Every student will be at their own pace. Every student will be in their own phase. With that the content will be just going on, right? So it's personalized system of instruction. Heuristic, very important. This question been asked many other times. Learning by discovery. Question alone will be there. Students has to explore more to find the answers for things, right? It's called heuristic method. Role play, which we apply in humanities. Arts and humanities we apply role play, where the students set out rules to understand. Like simple drama that we do, no, it is a role play. We take the character and we will act. Role play. Simulation, scientific experiments. We build that model and we do the experiment. It's called simulation. Clear? Learner center method, where the student will be more involved. Teacher will be a facilitator. Multiple selection questions we can expect from this one. Facilitator. Right? When I give you a clue also, whenever you solve these kind of questions from teaching aptitude, either assume you as a student, okay, or assume you as a teacher. Definitely these type of question we can able to do it very quickly. Effectiveness of teaching, effectiveness of learning, effectiveness of learners and teachers. Easily we can do only when we assume ourselves as a teacher or a learner. If there is a question with respect to teacher means, then you assume that if you are a good teacher, which the characters will be, right? If any question regarding learner is there, mean assume yourself as a good learner and then look at the question. Definitely the points will be there. Try to use these two rules in your class, in your exam. 1. Identifying the keyword. Number 2. Eliminating something. Okay. Number 2. Eliminating something. DI, please, ma'am. I am ready to take DI, but if I take DI, everyone are going out. What shall I do? I am ready to take DI. In our app, there are so many free DIs also there. I am ready to do DI. Just give your what is that? In your comment section, please tell me if you want DI after the session. Okay, definitely today evening there will be a class. I will take on DI. No issues at all. Either it will be on YouTube or it will be on app. I'll make it as free. So I think you can attempt that DI. I will take. But I need your answer, right? I am ready to take. I need your response. Okay. Next we have the very important methods of teaching. Instructions are cooperative learning, that is teaching method, cooperative, collaborative method, and blended learning, flipped learning. These are all not modern methods. That day itself it was there, but now it is becoming very assurance. Yes, Jagat sir, give your assurance that you will be there. Definitely I will take. Actually DI is like a booster. Everyone having a myth like it will not come. I am not good in maths. I am weak in maths. If I say maths, you will say I am not good in maths. If higher education is there, you will say lot of years are there, I can't remember. If I take environmental section, you will say lots of what is that? Scientific terms are there, it's very hard to remember, and years are also there, right? Indian logic comes, lot of Sanskrit words are there, lot of difficult words are there to remember, right? Maths comes, different one, calculations, I don't know maths. Every area we have a problem, but that is not at all a problem. Our mindset is the problem. Okay, if we say right, we have to attempt the exam, no other way. If we attempt it, if we prepare it for well, definitely we can give the best. Last 20 days I was been giving the same thing regarding these important concepts we did on YouTube, right? Definitely if you give your assurance for DI, definitely I will take. I don't have any problem at all in taking DI. I am ready to take DI. I love to take DI. Yes, please may be sure, right? Theory concept revision is really required first. Absolutely it's required. I didn't deny at all. But at this time, but that is also important. That's why. It's not worry. I'm just telling it as fun. Right. So come on, let's wait. So cooperative learning means what? Where we have a classroom. Imagine a classroom. The students will be put into group and they want to achieve a common goal with each member having a role towards it, and it's called cooperative learning. Collaborative learning means what? Equally the responsibilities will be shared among the people. In cooperative learning, where people will be interact with each other, so social skills will be developed, dependency will be there between the positive interdependency will be there between the students to do a task, right? Some may know, some may not know, but they just coordinate with each other, they cooperate with each other to attain the task, right? So it's called cooperative. But in case of collaborative, equal responsibility will be shared among the people, and that is called collaborative learning. Blended learning means what? Mixing online and offline method. Understand? Blended means offline and online methods. Flipped classroom means at home content will be studied, in the classroom the discussion will be done. Understand? In home content will be given, it can be in a video or can be a PDF where we have to study and come to the classroom for the discussion to do the activity, and that is called flipped classrooms and blended learning. Yes, right. Next one, very very important learning strategies that we have to remember. These are the currently asked learning strategies. Currently asked learning strategies. I will be going very quickly so that you can able to understand it better. Cooperative think, share, think, pair, share means students think individually, then they will be paired, and then they will share with the class. Think, pair, share. They will be given individually, they will be paired to discuss, then they will come to the class to share with their classroom. Jigsaw strategy, each student will be given a piece of topic and then teachers to their group, where one will be expert in one, they will be moving around the group, and it will be so all the class members will be aware of all the concepts. Jigsaw. Round robin means every student will be taking their turn to express their ideas and contribution. It's called a round robin. Team, pair, solo means what? They will be working in teams, then they will be becoming a pair, then individually they will work to solve the problems. Corner. one problem will be given, and the four opinions can be some opinions can be given, and the teacher will be asked who stands for these opinions, right? So those who wants to stand with their those four opinions, they will be going to the corners of the classrooms. So and then the people will be joined in that corners, no, they will do their discussion, and that is what we call it as corners. And numbers heads together, that we used to do in our classrooms, where a question will be given, the groups will be making a discussion to find the answer, then one member from that group will present the content. It's called number heads together. Whole classroom will be there, they'll be divided into groups, question will be given for each group will make a discussion, and finally one member from that group will present that content representing the group. It's called number heads together. And then fish bowl strategy. Fish bowl strategy means what? Classroom will be there, divided into groups. One group in the middle, one group will be doing the discussion, another group will be doing the observation. It's called fish bowl strategy. Rally coach means student will work in pairs. Two students will be there, and one student will be doing the solving something, another will be the guiding him. This is wrong, this is right, you can do it like this. So that one will be guiding, one will be doing, and after completing this one particular problem, the roles will be switched among the people. He will be taking the role of the guide, and another one will start doing it from. It's called rally coach. These are all the very important strategies used in cooperative learning strategy. Very quickly we can complete, because so many times we have done this evaluation strategy. Quick, I will just complete. We have placement, formative, diagnostic, summative. Placement means before, whether entry level test we call placement. Formative, during the learning process we call formative. Diagnostic, whether is there any problem, remedy has to be given, we call diagnostic. Summative means at the end of the learning period that will be assessed, is called judgmental, also is called summative. Next, norm reference means my score will be compared with the the other person, the group score, it will be compared, and they will say whether it is it will be come into cutoff or not. Simple examples are net exam score, comparing an individual score with the group score. Simple, comparing an individual score with the group score, it's called norm reference. Criterion reference means whoever you can be, the predefined criteria will be there, whether that criteria have been met or not. If it is met means then it is okay. That kind of assessment we call criterion reference. If I have to clear my typewriting exam means 60 this number of words per minute I have to type. Whoever you can be, only if you type you will be clearing that examination. If you want to clear the TOEFL exam, if you have to get that band means that you have to score 8 out of 9. If you have to score means you have to score anyone you can be, or else you cannot come into it, because it's a predefined standard set. Like we have to get 8 score, we have to get 7 score. Only with the score is there you can able to come into the thing. It's called criterion referenced evaluation. And next we have a very important authentic, interim, peer, rubrics, ipsative, portfolio. Authentic means whatever we have learned, whether we can able to apply it in real life or not. Authentic assessment. Interim assessment means whether it's like monitoring, it is like formative assessment. Peer assessment means what we used to do in our small childhood, right? We used to exchange our notebooks to do correction. It's called peer assessment. Rubrics assessment means what if you go for attempt any kind of competitions, at that time what they used to do was the criteria will be given to the judge to evaluate the participants. Creativity 10 marks, knowledge 10 marks, presentation 10 marks, output 5, like that they would have given, right? It's called rubrics. Ipsative assessment means what? Ipsative means whatever I have got. The previous net exam I have got 180. This net exam I have got 200 marks. You understand? So compared to the previous exam, this exam my score is better. It's called ipsative evaluation. Portfolio means what? Over the period of time, how I have been grown. Over the period of time, how I have been improved my skill. That assessment is called as portfolio assessment. Is it clear, learners? Is it clear? Please let me know. Right. Next one, diagnostic test. Again, it is to identify the problem. That's called diagnostic. Aptitude test. For any domain, if I want to enter, means whether that learner is having that particular skill set or not. Whether he is having that aptitude, that knowledge or not to do that thing. It's called aptitude test. Achievement test. After the end of that course, whether what he has achieved, achievement test. proficiency test, whether a person is proficient to be whether a person is a proficient English teacher, whether he is an expert in doing English. I understand. So expertise, showing the expertise, we call it as proficiency test. And next we move to transfer of learning. Very, very important, definite asked question from this area. Okay. So transfer of learning. Transfer of learning means whatever I have learned, I have to transfer my knowledge, right? In the new experiences, new fit. At that time, these are the different types of learning: positive transfer, negative transfer, zero transfer, near transfer. I'll take 4 by 4 so that we can complete it. Positive transfer of learning means where prior learning enhances the new learning. Prior learning enhances the new learning. Whatever I have learned before, that has been helpful to do this particular problem. This new learning, my previously learned thing has been going to be most helpful. It's called positive transfer of learning. Negative transfer of learning means whatever I have learned before, that's been interfering with my present learning. I was not able to learn this because the previous one influences the present one. Negative transfer. I was not able to apply. Zero transfer. Whatever I have learned before, it is not at all useful to this particular new learning. Zero transfer. Then we have near transfer, far transfer. Near transfer means that is a person, whatever skill you have learned now, this I'm going to apply, I'm getting an opportunity to apply the same kind of thing in the new scenario also. So I don't want to put extra effort. So whatever I have learned there, similar kind of things I'm going to apply. It's called near transfer skill. Say example, if there is a person who is getting trained in nursing and she is getting in a training phase, whatever she has done, right? Similar kind of protocols was been there in the new place where she is going to work. I think further it is very easy, right? Transferring the skills what she has done in the training, same thing she is going to do in that same new hospital. New one. So the protocols is going to be the same as was been there. So it's called near transfer. Far transfer means what? Where a person going to apply some skill where it is going to be in a different context. In a very different context. So if a person is learned very good in mathematics, so he is going to do his business. So how that mathematical skill is going to be applied in business, it's not that much near, no, it's far. Because this is different and this is slightly different. It's called far transfer learning. Next we have bilateral learning. So I'm just learning something through my learning to write with my right hand facilitates, because as we all know, in the right hand we used to write like this. This is how we used to hold. So when you know how to do it in our right hand means obviously my hands will go as like as my left hand, right? So how I hold here, so this I know. Then when I want to transfer here, automatically my brain will say this is how you have to hold your hand. Clear? Bilateral transfer. Low road transfer means what? Automatically my mind goes and applies something without any conscious effort. Unconsciously when I will be able to do something, that's called low road transfer. I know very good, I'm very good in typing. Now I have given it the keyboard. I can easily able to do automatically because the same pattern will be there. So easily I will be able to do it. Low road transfer. High road transfer means what? Consciously taking effort to apply something. It's called high road transfer. Deliberate application of knowledge to a different context is called high road transfer. Am I clear? Yes? Okay, great. Next, with respect to memory, here I just like to focus on this short-term memory and long-term memory. So short-term memory works on the temporary storage, and long-term memory works on implicit memory. Explicit memory means what? I have to make a conscious recall. Types: episodic, semantic memory. Episodic memory means where the personal experiences. Semantic memory means what? The facts, concepts and general knowledge, we call it as semantic memory. Long-term memory we call it as implicit memory. Implicit is no requirement of conscious recall. We have procedural, priming and classical conditioning. Procedural memory means how to do some task. It's called procedural memory. Priming means what? If I say an yellow color fruit at this time, in this April and May we used to say, means we say immediately mango. Right? Because it is we have the past experience. At this month we will be getting this fruit. So past experiences influences the responses without any awareness. Conditioning means what? Learning through associations. And now comes very important one, the terms that we have in the memory. This time examinations, they are focused on all these terms. Before we had got questions from the types of memory in learning, and now they are focused on these interference. Interference means what? Some kind of disturbance which happens in that memory when retrieve or recall something. So when past or new memories interfere with each other, it's called interference. And when some kind of an interference comes, what will happen? It can be the proactive interference or is an retroactive interference. Proactive interference means the old memory interferes with learning or recalling a new information. Calling my old friend name when I was there present with a new friend, because calling your new friend with my old friend name, that's a proactive interference. Proactive interference. Retro means back, right? So I am forgetting my old thing because this new thing has occupied my memory. I forget my old thing because my new thing has been occupied. So the new memory interferes with recalling the old information, is called retroactive interference. Next comes very important, it's called forgetting. I studied this. In the examination hall we used to have this thing. Don't remember. I studied this. I have studied this. But I forget where I studied this. Immediately something, when clue comes, right, you will be getting it. So it depends upon the cue dependent forgetting. I can't recall because the cue is missing. Something is missing to identify that one. Even though it is there stored in our memory, we don't know how, that cue is there, no? That was missing over there. And that's called cue dependent forgetting. Next, displacement means what? The new information will be taking into role where the old one will be forgotten. Displacement. Nowadays that is what happening. We read one content, it's stored in our memory. We read another content, the old will goes, new will occupy. Displacement happens. Next we see another memory for the same content, that comes into the mind, this will goes. Correct? So the displacement is happening. As we are not recalling anything, what will happen? This will happen, that is called decay. So decay means what? The memory will fades out because that neuron is not being activated, because the information is lost, because as it is not recalled. So whatever we learned, right, I used to tell this again and again, please do recall this, all these things we have done. So whatever we have studied, recall, that words has to be recalled, that keywords has to be recalled, what are the example we have given, it has to be recalled. So whenever it is being done in the examination time, what will happen? It will just works out. Then that neurons will be get activated and it gives you the answer. If it is not recalled means, if you have not revised means, what will happen? Decay will happen. Memory fades over the time, and if it is not used. Okay, that's because it is not used. These are the terms used in memory learning. We are getting questions. Clear? Right. Very good. Very good. 1 minute. Kindly go through the ICT tools which we have discussed in our class, because it's a long list. So please kindly go through the ICT tools, very important in terms of content creation, in terms of language, in terms of assessment and evaluation. All are most important. We have done a class. Please do cover that video on ICT tools along with questions we have done. Please do it. Next we move to research methods. Research talks about, here you have to understand the different types of research. I'll give you with a keyword. Try to get it, all the keywords. Descriptive, I want to describe what has been happened, when it has been happened. Correlational, relationship between two variables we call correlational. Exploratory, I know a small thing, I'm going to explore more about it. Exploratory. Explanatory, where it talks about the cause effect between the cause and effect will be explained. Explanations will be given. Experimental research, very important. 4 keywords we have to remember. Keyword number 1, manipulation will be done. Keyword number 2, controlled environment. Keyword number 3, randomization. Keyword number 4, cause and effect. You can ask me, ma'am, explanatory also has cause and effect, but here experimental we have that cause and effect. Shan collection, displacement and proactive. Okay. See, displacement means it under this proactive interference, this term will be there, because in that one interference is there. me and my friend are going out. I always used to go with the friend called X. Okay, I usually used to go. I'm just giving an example. I usually used to go with this friend called X. Suddenly one day I'm just going outing with this friend. I want to call this friend, but I call this friend by this name. Why? Because whenever I go out, I used to call this girl, this friend only. You understand? So my memory understands whenever I go out, my memory will used to call by this name only. So what happens in my memory? There is an interference will be there. There is some kind of an interference will be there with my old friend name. So I want to call my friend as Y, but I am calling my friend Y as X. This is called interference. I am getting some interference. That's why I was not able to call. And here what happens is displacement. New information pushes out the old informations into because of the space, limited space. I forget something because I have not new information comes, so the old information goes out. Again new information comes, this information goes out. Displacement means what? Movement, right? Okay, so new information pushes out old information from short-term memory due to limited space. Because this memory at that time, it does not have that much space. I used to say in ICT, used to say, right, in our human brain also the same thing. Working memory has a little space to do something. Okay, but whatever many people will used to say in examinations, right, all the 10 units has to be completed at 2 days before the exam, and then going direct to the exam and will be getting clear in the exam. Is it possible? Is it possible? I don't know. If we want, that is what we are studying here in learning. If you want to learn something, it is not a matter of one day. If learning should be done, it is for a lifelong learning. We have to, because each and everything we study here is being connected to our history, connected to our research, connected to our psychology, connected to the analytical thinking, connected through our technology. Everything is being connected for this teaching profession. So we cannot say whatever I learn, 2 days only I will learn. 25th exam, 23, 24 I will learn paper 1, and 25 I will go and I will get 50 out of 50 questions, 40 questions, right? I am sorry, I don't know the way to do in 2 days. Because it is a process. All are different subjects where we have to cover. Okay, what happened? When you try to do it is in 2 days means, our memory, our brain will be very small. The working memory will be very small. It will not able to handle. So what will happen? It will get overloaded. Whatever we have learnt before will be forget, because all these things have been dumped inside the memory what we are doing. So that will be get forgotten. Am I right? Simple learning. So now just I am doing a recap. I am just refreshing it. That's all. Because we have done it before. Just I am refreshing it. So all these words which we have used before, now you have, either you do it or not, our neurons will do. Because in our neurons all this information, these words, this template is registered. Am I right? So it is being registered there, so automatically the neurons will get activated. Click. So if the neurons is not activated, means what will happen? That data will lost. Okay, right. So next one we move to experimental research, manipulation, control condition, randomization, and the fourth one is cause and effect. Independent variable, dependent variable. I will be studying about the effect. I will be studying the dependent variable whenever I change something in the independent variable. And next one we have a ex post facto. Whatever has been done before, now I am going to study with the facts. Okay, now I am going to study with the facts. The difference between this experimental and ex post facto is where manipulation cannot be done. What is manipulation? I cannot change the values. Because ex post facto already happened. I cannot go and change anything. But in experimental, what does it mean? Experimental, now I am doing it. I can change the value and I can see what has been happening. Survey research means what? Gathering the information by means of questionnaires, online, offline, physical, one-to-one. I can collect information. Historical research means what? The past records having some significance over there for that event, and it's called historical research. And there we have two types. It's called, so not two types, two terms are there: internal criticism and external criticism. And historical record, say example, this is an historical object which I have got. I'm saying this is an object which has been founded during 10th century. Okay, this is what I'm telling you. If I am saying that it belongs to 10th century, this criticism matters a lot. First one is external criticism. What is that? Whether this particular product, this object belongs to 10th century or not. Whether this particular object belongs to 10th century or not. Carbon dating will be done. It's called external criticism. Okay. Then what happened? Inside this object there is some kind of information is there. If I open this, there is some information is there. So I open, I get that information. There is some content or text written over it. I have to trust whether that content is right or not. At that time I used to analyze that data given in that text, and I say the content given there is correct, accurate. It's called internal criticism. Right? Whether this is right or wrong, whether this belongs to that century or not, is external criticism. And talking about the content, we call it as internal criticism. Right? This is called historical research, which has its own significance, which happens in the past. Fundamental research, bulb, generate new knowledge or theory. Applied research, that bulb we are not using now the same form what Thomas Alva Edison invented. What we are doing now, we are using it in different forms. New world, while real life problems, we are applying it, this skill. Applied research. Next, deductive, THOC. Many a times I have told you, it starts with the theory, hypothesis will be tested, observation will be done, and finally it will be confirmation will be given. Inductive research, OPAC. Observation will be done, observing the specific instances will be done, getting a common pattern out of all the instances, analysis will be done, and confirming. Here hypothesis generation will be done, here hypothesis testing will be done. Then case study provides an in-depth detailed analysis of a single thing, we call it as a case study. Survey research, as I have told you, through questionnaires or interviews we collect the information. Content analysis can be with the help of text, video, audio, we call content analysis. Comparative research means what? Comparing two or more groups and finding the association between them, relationship between them, comparative research. And then particularistic research, this time asked in the examination, where it focuses on one specific problem and one specific issue and dealing with it. Right? So it is not to a generalized one, but it is often confined with one specific problem, we call particularistic research. Evaluation research, whenever a policy is being passed by the government, whenever the policy is going to be passed by the government, evaluation will be done. Whether it will be effective when I pass this policy or not, all the things we call it as evaluative research. Next, move to action research. Very easy. Action research means it talks about whenever there is a problem, I want to have an immediate solution, I go to this action research. I want to do some kind of an answer I need, so I immediately get into the problem, find out the solution and apply it. Action research. Archival research works on libraries and all old libraries. There will be archives, histories will be there, documents will be there. That research we call archival research. Cross-sectional research means very important. Many a times these questions been asked. Cross-sectional and then longitudinal. So cross-sectional, at a point of time, one particular point of time, I am just examining across many set of people. Right, and this is called cross-sectional. Examines data in a single point in time to analyze the current conditions and relationship. Longitudinal type of research, doing data collection or over a period of time to observe what kind of changes has been happened. That's called trend analysis will be done using longitudinal research. I give you the better example of pregnant women. Yes, pregnant women. These are the different methods, maximum mostly covered by this area only. Next, I move to very important qualitative and quantitative type of research. Qualitative and quantitative type of research, the must area which we have to cover. Yes. What is qualitative and what is quantitative? Qualitative, quantitative. Please imagine what I am saying you. Definite question will come. See, we have to connect the questions here, connect the concepts here, whatever we have studied, whatever you have understood. Qualitative means what talks about quality, quantitative talks about the numbers. So here it is inductive in nature, here it is deductive in nature. So as we have said, it is inductive in nature, where we used to have this observe, pattern, analysis, confirm. Deductive means theory, hypothesis, observe and confirm. And here we used to do the hypothesis generation will be done. Here we used to do the hypothesis testing will be done. Here we work on words, here we work on numbers. Here the focus is on the individual participants. What is the perspective of the participants? Here everything is towards the objective what I have designed for. Okay, and subjective means everyone's perspective, everyone's viewpoints will be considered, but in case of objective it's not the thing. This is one single objective, everyone should move towards it. Then here bias may be a possibility. Here bias will not be there, because if it is objective in nature, scientific in nature, so everyone should align towards that point only. Here I can say as it is subjective in nature, each one's viewpoint will be there, bias may be a possibility there. And here in terms of statistical test, where we use non-parametric test, here parametric test is being applied. In qualitative, the volume of the size is said to be less, small, but in case of quantitative it is said to be large. And here non-probability sampling methods is being used, and here probability sampling is used. That is Supreme Court judgment quota, that is snowball, convenience, judgmental and quota. And here probability sampling, systematic, simple, stratified and cluster sampling which can be applied. And as we all know, we collect data, right, where the scales of measurements can be in qualitative, nominal data or an ordinal data, where in case of quantitative it can be interval data or a ratio level of data. Clear? And here the structure of the research will be here unstructured way. It's flexible, we can move it, we can change the thing, and here it is flexible nature. And in case of quantitative it is a less flexible. Next one we move. These are the different types. Quantitative, we have survey research, experimental, quasi-experimental. The difference between experimental and quasi-experimental is the randomness. And next we have correlation, the association between the two variables. Longitudinal research means over the period of time, right, a set of variables is studied. Longitudinal research, cross-sectional research at a point of time, all these are quantitative methods. Descriptive research depends upon the context. It can be either quantitative or qualitative, depends upon the context, don't forget. And next we have the qualitative research method. Qualitative research method talks about the again, you just imagine a village interview. Okay, in your example, if you, whenever qualitative research comes, just imagine a village doing an experiment with them. Okay, doing an interview with them. That should be the example which your mind should get immediately. Whenever I say quantitative, imagine a laboratory where I am doing some experiments, right? So qualitative with respect to in-depth interview, and it works on focus group. Focus group means I want to get it from the people who are between these age groups. So I make people to sit in that age group and I'll discuss with them, get the content. Narrative research means, simple example, autobiography. We have many autobiographies are there, right? So they would have written their own narrations, would have been given. Narrative research. Phenomenology, best example I used to give, tsunami. Tsunami happened, cyclones happened, landslides happened, now air crash happened, so many phenomena has been happened. So what is the impact of that event? After that, what is their impact has been happened to their family? Phenomenology, study about that event. Okay, how it has been impacted. Ethnography means what? Study of lives, culture of the group of people. Ethnography. Case study research, I am going in-depth analysis. Sometimes again here this is also quantitative or qualitative in nature. And then content analysis talks about the text, video, audio data, where I will be subjective in nature, and this is called content analysis. And next we move to grounded theory. Grounded theory means I will be taking a data, I am exploring into the data, finally I develop a new theory out of it. It's called grounded theory. Historical research we have studied before, getting the significance event happened in the past, right? Very good. Next comes very important first, this is a paradigms, research paradigm. 4 different research paradigm: positivism, post-positivism, interpretativism, postmodernism. Keep your mobile phone in the landscape mode. Keep your mobile phone in a landscape mode, and then also you can watch. Close the chat. You can also zoom. See, you can close the chat and you can also zoom to understand if you are not able to read the sentence properly. I have made this in a full image so that it will be easy for you to do your revision. I have highlighted the keywords of all those words in respective to the concepts. Okay, right. Clear, learners? Right. Positivism. I'll go slowly. Positivism means what? It is the reality is objective in nature. Reality is objective in nature, and it is not about what people says. It about what nature says. It what about science says. Okay, it's called positivism. As we say, it's positivism. It is purely quantitative in nature. It is pure scientific in nature, which the scientists who believe positivism, right, they believe whatever science says. They observe, they will say whatever the experiment says, I will go with that one. So they observe, they have a strong reason of their happening, and then they will accept. There is no human intervention of interpreting things, but whatever happens, right, it will be taken. And it based on surveys, experiments, observations, it has been taken. Standardized instruments will be used, and no bias will be there. Post-positivism means where here it is partial quantitative and partial quantitative, qualitative and quantitative. Some right, it is reality is there, but it is imperfectly knowable. We don't know how much it is fully correct. So that's called post-positivism. Here it is primarily quantitative, but some are qualitative in nature. Interpretativism means what? Where the reality which is being is subjective in nature. I have my own opinion, another person may have opinion, you have one opinion, right? So the knowledge is being gained through this kind of paradigm is said to be subjective in nature, right? Okay. And the values are integral to research, and this type of research is said to be qualitative in nature and interpretative. This data collection can be done using interviews, observation and analysis method. And here the before two things, right, the data can be in structured format, in post-positivism semi-structured, but here it is purely unstructured and semi-structured format. And in terms of narrative analysis like autobiographies, all these things comes under interpretativism. And here the bias can be there, the possibility of understanding the concepts. Postmodernism comes under, right, it is there is no single truth for anything. No single truth for anything. Here it is the reality which is said to be unstable in nature because it is built up by the society. Okay, it is purely the knowledge which is being constructed depends upon the society. It is context dependent. Clear? So simple way of understanding is here it is said to be pure quantitative in nature. Quantitative. Here it is partially quantitative and partially qualitative. Qualitative. Interpretativism means what? It is purely qualitative in nature. Qualitative in nature. And here postmodernism is also in such ways where it is said to be does not obey with reality. It is fragmented and it's constructed by the society. Okay, is it clear? Right, it's called postmodernism. This time we have got question from this postmodernism. Yes, right. I move to the next one. Ethical issues. Ethical issues, we have voluntary participation, informed consent, anonymity. Voluntary participation means the participants has the free to opt in and out of the study at any point of time. Informed consent also the same thing, where we have to inform the participants why they join, what is the purpose of the study. We have to get the consent and they have to be a part of the study. Anonymity means sometimes we don't need to know the identity of the participants, where even though if you know the identification of the participants, it has to be kept in a secured way. It should be kept in a confidential way. Potential for harm, no things has to be harmed in terms of physical, psychological and social way. Results communication, whatever I have found out through the result through the scientific way, I have to communicate in a proper way, and it should be accurate also. Next, conflict of interest. So whenever there is no I compromise the professionalism, means then there is a conflict of interest. Deception means misleading the participants to do something, it's called deception. Debriefing means getting the full purpose and details of the study after the participation. Debriefing, I am not telling the people what I am going to study. So after the participation, if I explain them, it's called debriefing. Yes, clear? Right, very good. Next we move to levels of plagiarism. Very easy one, definite question, we can expect this. Plagiarism, where we now do use Turnitin to do the plagiarism. UGC has made it very mandatory for their thesis submissions and all thesis submission. And these are the four, this has been done during 2018, this regulation was being passed. And level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3 are the 4 levels of plagiarism. Level 0 is said to be up to 10%. No minus similarities and no penalty is being allotted. Above 1%, so level 1 means above 10 to 40%, we call it as level 1 similarity, where moderate similarity. 40 to 60 is high similarity, 60 above is severe similarity. What is the punishment given? If it is at 10% means no issues, it is okay. Level 1 similarity is being done means where the student will be requested to submit the script within 6 months. If it is level 2 means they will be asked to debar from the university for 1 year to submitting the that document. Level 3 as a plagiarism is there means then the registration will be cancelled, right? And what is it is only for the student? No, it is also for the academic advisor. If it is 10%, no penalty. 10 to 40% means withdrawal. 40 to 60% means one annual increment will be cut, and 2 years not able to supervise master, MPhil and PhD students. Above 60% means 2 annual increments will be denied, and 3 years no new masters, MPhil and PhD candidates can be trained. Okay, so these are the things with respect to plagiarism. Next comes, as I mentioned you before, sampling types: simple, random, systematic and cluster, multi-stage, non-probability, convenience, judgment, quota, snowball, key informant. Simple random, equal chance of being selected. Systematic, every 10th item is being selected. Stratified, groups will be created. From each group, randomly numbers will be selected, stratified. Cluster sampling, groups will be created. From cluster itself being selected is called cluster sampling. Multi-stage sampling, different sampling methods being applied to the sampling. Non-probability sampling, we have a convenience. Based on the researcher convenience, I will be collecting the data. But that for my question, that set of people may not be useful, right? So what will happen? The data will not be in a correct way. There will be a bias there. Judgmental sampling means what? Based on my own judgment, my viewpoint, I do something. It's called judgment sampling. Quota sampling, I make it as a cluster, but I am not doing it in a random way. In a non-random way, I will be selecting people. It's called quota sampling. Snowball sampling, through referrals, when I do connect with people to collect some data, it's called snowball sampling. Key informant sampling, whoever is said to be expert in a domain and that person will be used to do that research. That selection will be done based on that one. It's called key informant sampling, comes under non-probability sampling. And next, very very important, we have a hypothesis. Hypothesis means it is a tentative statement where that hypothesis, we have two important terms. One is called hypothesis generation, hypothesis testing. Hypothesis generation is being done in the inductive research. Testing is done in deductive research. Where in hypothesis generation, where we used to explore new things, hypothesis testing, we confirm whether it is right or wrong. And next we have these following terms called null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, test statistic, p-value, significance level and decision. These are the important terms where hypothesis, tentative statement. Two types, null or alternative. Always the researcher would like to deny the null hypothesis and to accept the alternative hypothesis, because the null hypothesis say there is no significant difference between these two variables, but the alternative wants to say there is a difference between, because always we want to say that something is different from the compare with the before one. So the alternative hypothesis will wish to be proved, and that is a test statistics, which is the value estimated from the sample data which we have collected to do our own test. And p-value is nothing but the probability value, and a significance value alpha, which is used to, this is the threshold level given, which says whether to accept the null hypothesis or to reject the hypothesis. So depends upon this depends upon this only, we will be either accepting the null hypothesis or we will be rejecting the null hypothesis. That's what here given. Based on this only the decisions will be taken. Based on the p-value and the alpha, either rejecting or failing the null hypothesis will be done. In our YouTube playlist, there is a separate class on statisticals in research. Please do kindly do it. It will be most helpful for doing some kind of previous year question. And next we move to very important one, reliability and validity, the characteristics of research. What do you mean by reliability? We can have these words called reliability means it is consistency, and validity means it is called accuracy. Validity means it's called accuracy. So reliability says how consistently a method is being measuring something. My height I used to give us an example, and there we have 4 types: test, retest, iterator, parallel form, internal consistency. Test, retest means how many times I repeat the test I should get the same result. Iterator means what, the same test should be conducted with the different people, with the different instruments I have to check, I should get the same height 165. Iterator. Parallel forms means what, the different versions of the test has been designed and all should give the equivalent results. Parallel form. And internal consistency, the items which are there inside the test should be aligned with the question. That's called internally consistent. And next we have the validity. Validity talks about the accuracy. It talks about the accuracy of the data, and that talks about the consistency of the data. Tell me which is required. Is it reliability required, or it is whether reliability is required or validity is required? Which is most essential? Please let me know. Even though if it is reliable, giving the same answer, if see, I am taking my height, it gives me 175, 175, 175, 175. 4 times I am doing this experiment. 1, experiment 2, experiment 3, experiment 4. All the 4 times it gives 175. Can I say it is right? No, because when I say validating this data called 175, my valid height is said to be 165. Even though it consistently comes the same one, that accurate value of my height is 165. You got it? So more than reliability, validity is important. Okay, right? Very good. If it is valid and accurate means definitely it will be reliable, no issues at all. But more than reliability, a model should be, a tool should be valid and accurate. The results given by that one should be valid and accurate. And internal validity talks about what, the cause and effect relationship. The external validity talks about how far we can able to apply it in a generalized way. Ecological validity means where it talks about it's a subset of the external validity, where I can able to apply this in a generalized format and we can able to get the same results, means then it is ecological validity too, right? Next we have the statistical terms, very important. Statistics, mean, median, mode. Mean means the average value of the given data set. Understand it very clearly. Data set will be given, the average value will be called as the mean. The data set will be given, arrange it in this ascending order and then find the middle value, it's called the median. Mode means what, one particular value, how many times it is repeated, the most frequented repeated value we call it as a mode. And next we have very important one, we are getting formula based one question every time in the examination with respect to formula. For that we have to understand these terms: range, variance, standard deviation, mean deviation, quartile deviation. And here range is nothing but the difference between the highest and the lowest. Variance is nothing but the average of the square difference from mean. Standard deviation, square root of the variance. Please don't ignore it. Definitely we can expect question. Statistically they are giving more importance. Please listen. Mean deviation means average of, don't need to by heart everything, just listen enough. Mean deviation from the mean, how it is being differed. Quartile deviation means, here we have 3 terms. One is called decile, another one we call it as quartile, and the next word we have a percentile. So decile means what, there is 100 data set is totally 100 and dividing into equal 10 parts we call decile. Quartile means dividing into 25% we call it as quartile. And see, this is called Q1, this is called Q2, and this is called Q3. Okay, so the 50th data we call it as the Q2. 50th data we call it as Q2, quartile. Percentile means every one, that single, if there is 100 data means, then each we call it as a 1 percentile, 2 percentile, like that it goes, right? Very good. Next one, this question being asked this time in the examination in the max the following based thing. Last time also this question is being asked on coefficient of variance. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your hearts. Coefficient for variance, standard deviation as a percentage of the mean. They have clearly given the formulas. We have to calculate and do it in the match the following format, right? And coefficient of mean deviation is mean deviation divided by the mean. Understand? Please make down these formulas. We can expect. Coefficient of quartile deviation, how it is being deviated from the quartile value. It's called Q1 and Q3. It's called quartile deviation. And next we move to very important one, NOIR, that is nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, level of data. Nominal data categorized, ordinal data categorized and ranked, interval data categorized, ranked and evenly spaced. Ratio data categorized, ranked, evenly spaced as a neutral zero. I'll give you an example, easily you can remember. Nominal data, gender, nationality, where we can only categorize. I cannot rank with it. I cannot say Indians are first, this are second, blue eyes are first, brown eyes are second. I cannot say. I can simply categorize. If I want to do the ranking, means I move to the ordinal data, where I can rank. I'll say for bachelor degree it is the lowest degree, master degree is the second one, PhD is the highest degree. I can do the ranking, ordinal data. Next we move to interval and ratio level of data. Interval and ratio level of data works on simple example I used to quote so that easily you can connect. If I say temperature in percentage degree Celsius, if I say 0 degrees Celsius, what does it mean? Does it mean there is no temperature? No, 0 degrees Celsius is a temperature, right? Here no true 0 is there. This is not empty. This says that this is a cold temperature. If I say here 0 centimeter, can there be any person called 0 centimeter? No, right? It's absolute. 0 means then it's a total absence of the quality. There is no possibility of this one. Total absence of that quantity. Clear? Right. So here it measures the difference and here it measures the true quantity and by means of doing the comparison. Yes. And where we apply this interval and ratio scale, whenever we use quantitative data, don't forget, qualitative data. Whenever we use qualitative data, we use this qualitative or quantitative? Quantitative. Correct, only I have written. Quantitative. We use this interval and ratio, and nominal and ordinal is being used in qualitative data. Okay, because here do only categorization. So qualitative data will come here. Quantitative, whatever we can be able to measure, whatever we can able to do the mathematical use, there comes the quantitative. There comes the quantitative. Okay, right. Validity, ma'am. What validity? Okay. Very good. So these are the different types of nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio level of data. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, very good. Very good. So with this I stop today, and tomorrow we will have a very quick revision on tomorrow or possibly today evening. I will try to give you the time, convey you the time. If you want DI, please convey me in before. So evening I have planned to take people development environment. Only years will come. Don't forget. Higher education, most important years terms, and another, as if you request DI, I will be taking you DI. Okay, please convey so that I can take it to you either on YouTube or it in the app. I will make it as free so that we can do a complete revision on all these 3 topics. Right. Okay, hope you would have enjoyed this session. Please do a revision and practice the questions which we have done before. In the playlist is there. Please do practice. Definitely we will do it. Let me know your need for DI in the comment section. So meet you in the next class. Thank you. Tata. Bye bye.